In a small village nestled between towering mountains, there lived a blacksmith named Anton. His presence was as strong as the iron he shaped every day. With muscles honed from years of hammering metal, his hands were capable of transforming raw materials into beautiful, useful creations. The rhythm of his work echoed through the village, a comforting sound that reminded everyone of the life and energy he brought to their community. Anton's forge was more than just a place of work, it was the heart of his home. Day and night, flames danced in the hearth, casting flickering shadows on the stone walls. The air was thick with the smell of soot and hot metal, mingling with the fragrance of fresh bread baking in nearby homes. Villagers often gathered at Anton's forge to admire the shimmering horseshoes and sturdy tools that adorned his shelves. But it was not just his skill that made him beloved, it was also his kind heart. Anton always had a smile for anyone who needed help or advice. He believed in sharing his talents, creating not only for profit but for joy and community spirit. Little did he know that on this particular night, a shadow would soon cast itself over his life, bringing challenges he never anticipated. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the village transformed under the glow of the moon. Bright and full, it cast silver beams across the cobblestone streets, creating shadows that danced like whispers in the night. The air was cool and still, a gentle breeze rustling through the leaves of ancient trees that lined the village square. In this serene setting, everything felt suspended in time. The usual sounds of laughter and chatter had faded away, leaving only the soft rustle of nature and the distant hoot of an owl. It was a night that felt both peaceful and mysterious, a quiet invitation to secrets hidden in the dark. The houses stood silently with their windows aglow, flickering candlelight illuminating family dinners and quiet conversations inside. Anton's forge, however, remained dim, waiting for its master to summon life from within. The flames would soon roar back to life, breaking the stillness like a heartbeat rekindled. Yet beneath this tranquil surface lay a tension that hung in the air like an unsung melody. With every passing moment, shadows grew longer and thicker, hinting at a brewing storm on the horizon. Little did Anton know that this enchanting night would soon unfurl into a tale of bravery and challenge that would change his life forever. As the village slumbered beneath the brilliant moon, a figure emerged from the shadows, making his way toward Anton's forge. The sound of his footsteps was muffled against the cobblestone, but Anton's keen ears caught the approach. He turned, a mix of curiosity and caution brewing within him as he opened the door just wide enough to peer into the night. The stranger, cloaked in a heavy dark robe, stepped forward, his face obscured by a hood. "Anton," he said, his voice low and urgent, "I bear news that cannot wait." There was something unsettling about his presence, yet Anton felt an undeniable pull to listen. With a wave of the stranger's hand, he beckoned Anton closer before continuing. "Your son, Elias, has been captured by soldiers and is imprisoned in the fortress on the hill." The word struck Anton like a hammer against hot iron, sending shockwaves through his heart. The thought of his son in chains filled him with dread. "They've locked him up with heavy handcuffs that weigh down not just his wrists but his spirit," the stranger added, eyes glinting with seriousness. "You must act quickly. He needs you." In that moment, all thoughts of the quiet night faded away as urgency took hold. The peaceful life Anton cherished was about to be shattered, igniting a fierce determination within him to rescue his son at any cost. As the stranger's words echoed in his mind, Anton felt a whirlwind of emotions crash over him. Fear gripped his heart like a vice, anger flared at the thought of his son imprisoned, and determination surged within him like the fire that burned in his forge. With every heartbeat, visions of Elias filled his thoughts, the laughter they shared, the lessons learned at the anvil, and the bright dreams they had painted for the future. How could he allow those dreams to be snuffed out by soldiers who knew nothing of their bond? The night air felt heavy, pressing down on him as he paced back and forth outside the forge. He clenched his fists, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. How could he march into a fortress and face armed guards? But there was no question, he had to try. A wave of resolve washed over him, fueled by love for his son. He pictured Elias' eyes, filled with courage even when faced with hardship, and that image became his anchor. "I won't let you down," Anton whispered to himself, feeling strength radiate from deep within. This fierce bond between father and son was unbreakable. It would guide him through the darkest night as he prepared to take on whatever dangers lay ahead to bring Elias home. With his heart pounding and a fierce determination burning within him, Anton stepped into the dimly lit forge. The shadows danced around him as he approached the hearth, its coals reduced to smoldering embers. He took a deep breath, summoning all his courage, and struck the flint against steel. A spark ignited, catching the dried kindling nearby, and within moments, flames leaped to life. The warmth enveloped him, chasing away the chill of fear that had gripped his heart. The dance of the flames symbolized hope for his son's safety and for a daring rescue. As the fire grew brighter, it illuminated the walls of the forge and cast his determined shadow against the stone. Anton felt strengthened by its glow, ready to forge a new purpose from the heat sheathed within. He gathered materials that would help him create tools necessary for his mission, a powerful key to unlock Elias' handcuffs and perhaps weapons to protect himself on this perilous journey. Every strike of his hammer rang out through the night air, echoing like a war drum resonating with intent. Each ring became a vow, to stand up against whatever stood between him and his son. Midnight became a turning point, marking not just a time but also a transformation in Anton's spirit as he prepared to break through darkness for the sake of his beloved child. As Anton stood before the roaring flames of the forge, the heat radiated toward him, wrapping him in a comforting embrace. He tossed a chunk of iron into the fire, watching it glow brighter as it began to melt. Sparks flew like tiny stars, illuminating the dark corners of the forge and creating a vivid spectacle that fueled his resolve. The air crackled with energy, and he could almost hear the whispers of every piece of metal he had ever shaped. With each clang of his hammer against the anvil, a sharp rhythm filled the night, each strike resonating with purpose. The sound echoed through the village, drowning out any lingering doubts in his mind. He worked feverishly, imagining Elias in chains and using that image to drive his hands faster and stronger. As molten iron poured from the crucible, it glistened like liquid fire, ready to be molded into new handcuffs, ones that would symbolize freedom rather than captivity. Anton's breath quickened with anticipation as he poured the glowing metal into a mold crafted with care. The clang of metal on metal became a song of defiance. He was not just forging iron but also crafting a future where he and his son would be reunited. In that moment, surrounded by fire and determination, Anton knew he would do whatever it took to break through the darkness and reclaim his son's freedom. As Anton molded the hot iron, he paused to reflect on the true meaning of freedom. The weight of the handcuffs he was crafting felt heavy not just in his hands but on his heart. These would not be the same chains that bound his son, rather, they would symbolize a chance for liberation and hope. Each hammer strike resonated with thoughts of Elias and the laughter they shared, moments of joy that seemed light years away now. With every new curve of the metal, Anton envisioned his son breaking free from oppression, running toward him with a smile. He remembered their conversations about dreams and aspirations, how they had imagined a future filled with adventure and laughter. In that moment, he realized that freedom was not merely the absence of chains, it was the ability to pursue one's passions and live without fear. As he poured all his love and hope into crafting the cuffs, Anton's determination only grew stronger. The flames reflected in his eyes, burning brightly as he expressed his belief that no one should be confined by fear or injustice. He worked tirelessly, channeling his emotions into the iron, knowing that every thoughtful detail he put into this creation was a step closer to reuniting with his son. This act became more than a task, it transformed into a battle cry for freedom, not just for Elias, but for all who suffered under oppressive hands. As Anton finished crafting the handcuffs, a new idea sparked within him: if he could forge a means of confinement, he could also create a key to unlock those very chains. The thought ignited a fire of inspiration that propelled him forward. He turned his attention to the anvil, envisioning not just an ordinary key but one that symbolized hope and the promise of a brighter future for Elias. He took another piece of iron, heated it until it glowed with intensity, and began shaping it meticulously. Each twist and turn of the metal reflected his unwavering commitment to freeing his son from bondage. As he hammered the iron into form, he envisioned Elias's face lighting up with joy as he felt the cool touch of freedom once again. This key would represent not only liberation from physical restraints but also an opening to new possibilities. The rhythmic clang of hammer on metal filled the forge, resonating with determination and purpose. Each strike was a reminder that love could forge paths even in the darkest times. Anton concentrated deeply on the task at hand, pouring every ounce of longing and hope into this creation. The key began to take shape, a perfect blend of strength and grace, ready to unlock not only handcuffs but also a future filled with adventure and laughter for father and son alike. As Anton continued to shape the key, a wave of doubt washed over him, freezing his hands mid-motion. The anvil felt heavy as the weight of uncertainty loomed large in his mind. What if he couldn't rescue Elias? What if all his efforts were in vain, and the chains would remain unbroken? He took a step back, wiping the sweat from his brow, feeling the cold grip of fear trying to snuff out the flame of hope he had ignited. But in that moment of hesitation, a memory surfaced like a warm ray of sunlight breaking through dark clouds. He recalled Elias's laughter, bright and carefree, ringing in his ears like a melody that could lift any spirit. He remembered their afternoons spent in the forge, where the two would share stories and dreams, planning adventures that felt endless. The thought of seeing his son's joyful smile again reignited his resolve. With every recollection of Elias's spirit, his bravery, his laughter, Anton found the strength to push away doubt. He gripped the hammer tightly once more, feeling fortified by those cherished moments. Imagining the joy on Elias's face when he would finally unlock those chains filled him with determination. With renewed energy, Anton resumed his work, pouring every ounce of love and hope into crafting the key that would set his son free. With the key now complete and glistening in the forge's firelight, Anton felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through him. He held it in his hand, feeling the weight of hope and love. The hour was late, but every moment spent in the forge had prepared him for this journey. He took one last look around his beloved workshop, where memories of creation and laughter echoed in the air. This place had been the heart of his craft, now, it would be the starting point of a brave endeavor to save his son. As he stepped into the moonlit world outside, he was acutely aware of the stillness surrounding him, a stillness that felt pregnant with possibility. The path before him wound through shadowy trees and over rocky hills, leading to the fortress that loomed ominously in the distance. Anton squared his shoulders and began to walk, fueled by a determination that burned brighter than any flame. His heart raced with each step as thoughts raced through his mind, thoughts of his son's face, trapped yet unyielding, waiting for freedom. He wasn't just a blacksmith tonight, he was a father on a mission, driven by love and bravery. With each stride toward the fortress, Anton's resolve deepened, nothing would deter him from reclaiming Elias. The night held dangers, but also promise, the promise of reunion awaited him just beyond those dark walls. As Anton approached the fortress, its towering walls loomed like a dark giant against the night sky. He could see the flickering torchlight of guards patrolling the entrance, their silhouettes moving with the rhythm of duty. Heart pounding, he knew this would be the moment that tested his resolve. He had come too far to turn back now. Steeling himself, Anton slipped into the shadows cast by the moonlight and crept closer to the gates. He clutched the key tightly in one hand and a heavy iron tool in the other, ready to defend himself if necessary. The guards appeared casual but vigilant, unaware of the storm of determination brewing just beyond their sight. Suddenly, Anton's courage surged as he stepped forward from the darkness. "Release my son," he shouted, his voice echoing through the stillness with an authority that surprised even him. The guards turned sharply, eyes wide in disbelief at this unexpected challenge. A tense standoff ensued as Anton faced them, fueled by love and desperation. Without waiting for a response, he charged forward. The clang of metal rang out as he defended himself against their blows, each strike embodying the strength of a father's love. With every swing, he fought not just for Elias's freedom but for every moment they had shared together. The confrontation was fierce, but Anton's resolve remained unshaken, he would not let anything stand in his way. As he fought valiantly against adversity, hope surged within him. He was closer than ever to rescuing his son from captivity. After a fierce battle with the guards, Anton finally reached the dark cell where Elias was imprisoned. The heavy iron door loomed before him, locked tight and resolute, but now he held the key he had forged with love and determination. His heart raced as he approached, each beat echoing his hopes for freedom. With trembling hands, Anton inserted the key into the lock, feeling the cold metal against his palm. He closed his eyes for a moment, recalling all the sacrifices he had made to get here, the late nights at the forge, the struggles he endured, and most importantly, the love that propelled him forward. In that instant, everything coalesced into a singular purpose: saving his son. Turning the key felt monumental. As it clicked open, a rush of adrenaline coursed through him. He pushed the door wide and stepped inside to find Elias chained in shadows, looking weak but defiant. Their eyes met, and in that moment of connection, Anton could see both fear and hope swirling in his son's gaze. "Father," Elias whispered in disbelief. "You came for me." "I promised I would always be there," Anton replied, determination flooding his voice. With shaking hands, he began unlocking the chains binding Elias's wrists. Each lock that fell away signified not only physical release but also the revitalization of their dreams together. As Elias emerged from captivity into the light of freedom, both father and son embraced tightly, sacrifice and courage woven into their reunion. This was just the beginning of their journey together once more. As the door creaked open, Anton stepped inside the dimly lit cell and was met with the sight of Elias, who looked weak yet hopeful. The moment their eyes locked, all the fear and uncertainty melted away, replaced by an overwhelming sense of relief. Anton rushed forward, pulling Elias into a tight embrace that spoke louder than words ever could. "Father!" Elias exclaimed, his voice trembling with emotion. "I thought I would never see you again." Tears streamed down his cheeks as the weight of their separation finally lifted. "I'm here now," Anton replied, his voice thick with love and gratitude. "You're safe." As they held each other, they shared not only warmth but also the fears that had haunted them during their time apart, the fear of loss, of despair, and of being forgotten. Elias recounted how he had fought to stay brave in captivity, while Anton shared stories of his relentless efforts to forge a key that would unlock not just chains but also hope. In that moment, surrounded by shadows yet illuminated by their bond, they realized that love had triumphed over darkness. The embrace lingered as they breathed in the scent of freedom mixed with tears, a promise that no matter what happened next, they would face it together. Their journey had been fraught with danger and sacrifice, but together they felt reinvigorated, ready to reclaim their lives and dreams. As dawn broke over the village, a sense of tranquility filled the air, washing away the remnants of fear and despair that had once lingered like shadows. Anton and Elias emerged from the fortress, hand in hand, stepping into a world that felt new and alive. The sun painted the sky in hues of orange and gold, a stunning reminder of the hope that had guided them through their darkest hours. The villagers, who had anxiously awaited news of their fates, looked on with joy and disbelief as the father and son reunited before them. Anton's heart swelled with pride and love. He had fought not just for his son but for the very essence of family and community. Their journey had been fraught with danger, yet it had also illuminated the power of love and courage in overcoming insurmountable odds. As they walked back to their forge, Anton and Elias shared their dreams for the future, dreams filled with laughter and adventure, new stories waiting to be written. They understood now that freedom was not merely the absence of chains but a vibrant tapestry woven from hope, sacrifice, and unwavering love. In that moment, the village breathed a collective sigh of relief. The bond between father and son had not only survived but had strengthened, leaving a legacy of resilience and unity that would inspire all who heard their tale. Together, they stepped forward into a brighter tomorrow, ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead.